Okay, so I just fell into this place. I don't really know what it is. But hopefully I can find a way. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Null zones are essentially the main way people enter the complex without using Project KB31. Using the one image from our 1190 archive.tar, we can put together what these actually are and how they interact with the environment. So I don't know all the sciencey stuff here, but basically null zones act by using sudden height elevation discrepancies in the complex to interact with standard to create portals to the complex. As an example, at this part in Pitfalls, we can hear an interview with the US government 25 years in the future play in 1990, showing that even the smallest height discrepancies like this doorway here can give some very stark interruptions.
Marvin, 403, do you copy? Repeat, Marvin, do you copy?
To the U.S.
Do you think that your current president, President Castro, will come visit the United States?
To the U.S.
Do you think that your current
Repeat,
president,
Marvin,
President Castro, will
do
come
you
visit
copy?
the United States?
It's also worth noting the different types of null zones, as there isn't just one type. Obviously, there's the normal types, where you can just fall through the floor instantaneously. But it's worth noting that in found footage too, the null zone expands when Madison loads the tape, suggesting the more they're interacted with, the more unstable they get. Then there's a stable null zone, obviously the only one we know of being the threshold. It essentially works by tearing a huge hole between two different planes of existence using electromagnetism. It's safe to assume that the big distortion plate is essentially a vessel that grapples the complex and standard together. We then have the types of null zones that basically merge the complex and reality together. I believe the only one we've seen of these so far is the one from Found Footage 3, where Ravi falls through the floor in the new section of his basement. This phenomena is still very unexplained, and I don't quite know how the complex can directly build things in standard, but for whatever reason, Ravi interacting with this null zone causes it to significantly destabilize and suck him into the complex. Async is the main driving force causing the complex to eat reality, but something that's not really known is why they're doing all this. We know they don't actually plan to use the complex for human living, as in presentation it's revealed that the whole presentation is just a ruse to deceive the federal government. So that means Async doesn't want to do any of this stuff. So with that in mind, what do they actually want to do with the complex? They are very much aware of what they're doing is risky and unsafe, yet they continue to do it anyways. What are they doing this for? Well, I believe that personally it all comes down to Ivan Beck. I'll explain more later, but being the main character of the series, it's very safe to say that the Backrooms series is focused around him, obviously. I think it goes deeper than that. I could go on a big grand spiel about his childhood and how that affected his modern-day life. Instead, I'm going to tell you to watch this video by Red, as I believe that it is just 100% true. But for me, Ivan Beck is working to continue this project because he knows that something is up with the complex and he refuses to just let it go. Lifeforms are most likely the most of things in the complex, at least in my opinion. As almost confirmed in autopsy report and this one posted by Kane on his Ko-Fi, the lifeforms are comprised of only the bacteria type Hey Bacillus, and said bacteria is specifically said to be mutated in some way, at least from the doctor in autopsy report. I'm throwing this out there, but what if the lifeforms mutation are caused by the complex itself in some way, causing the Hey Bacillus bacteria to start losing its mind, just like how Peter lost his mind after being tucked down in Async for a long time? The sounds that the lifeforms make is also frankly terrifying. It varies throughout each sighting of one, but it's some kind of distorted howl that just shrieks at the protagonist. It's worth noting that the lifeform from Found Footage 2 and the lifeform from Pitfalls uses the same audio, suggesting that they're possibly the same lifeform, although it's not confirmed. the subject of the Pitfalls lifeform, its ability to mimic human voices is also very peculiar. It seems oddly intelligent on how it lures Marvin into its domain and then attempts to kill him when he got within distance of it. The fog in the room where the lifeform is makes it very hard to make out what it looks like, but you can get 3 different possible designs for it. It either has a long straight arm and 2 legs, a long bendy arm and 2 legs, or 3 legs and only the one ball joint arm that's present in all of them. The design I think is the most likely is the one with the bendy arm, but it's just very hard to make out. The found footage 2 lifeforms nest seen near the crashed car is also very odd, but I think there's actually a really good reason as to this whole car situation. So it was made abundantly obvious that someone did in fact get out of the car, walk into the house area, and then presumably died. Asked if lifeforms are zombies, Kane said that they most likely aren't. That means the person's corpse did not mutate into a lifeform. So how did this lifeform appear? Well, I believe that the Discord message where Kane says they're not zombies is the key to figuring out that lifeforms are actually kind of zombies. Kane said that, and I quote, "It's hard to tell, but I'd say they aren't." I don't think Kane is saying he doesn't know. I think this is him saying he can't really tell at what line something becomes a zombie. I think that lifeforms are essentially built off of victims' corpses. They are not zombies, but they can't exist without a human. When the human body starts to decompose for a long time in the complex, bacteria starts growing off of it, and the lifeform grows off it, instead of the human body essentially becoming the lifeform. Still life is very clearly related to the lifeform, but it is not the same species. As far as I can tell, there are 2 different possible explanations to what the still life is. It's either A, statue built by the complex that accidentally came to life, or B, it's the complex's attempt at recreating a human, and I believe this one. When it comes to its actual appearance, it's very hard to understand what we're looking at. I'd say that the frame that shows what the best it is this one. But even then, the arm is so incredibly blurry that you can't really make it out. However, there is this one very accurate fan model by a user named Dummy that looks like it would actually be what still life looks like if you line it up with the poses from the video. It's also worth noting that there's a piece of fan art of a still life with the caption, "That face when you get copied into the complex." And Kane responded to it saying, "Fairly close." There are many other speculative drawings of what still life could look like, but I believe that the most likely designs are either the one Ducko made, or this one by Fuenion, sorry if I butchered that name, on the Kane Pixels Backrooms Reddit. It should also be noted that in the 1-hour loop of still life on Kane's second channel, this weird image of the caveman statue begins to fade in. I do not know why. The complex has had its fair share of not building architecture perfectly, and usually failing to recreate reality. The most obvious examples are when it stretches furniture out, like the chairs and bed from found footage 2, and this one chair from found footage 3. It also fails at accurately recreating reality, like in the outside areas, like the red city having red light shine all over it, instead of a more natural blue or something. There's also the 2 times it tried recreating houses, the part from found footage 2 when it attempted recreating the house from the home video, but it just turned out oddly liminal, and the house from found footage 3, specifically the outside. There's also the mammoth cavern from found footage 1 that has a huge grid of tunnels going forward for God knows how long and God knows how wide. This hallway, and the complex repeats, is, strangely enough, a recreation of the maintenance wing from Async, which is worth noting because of all areas. Why does it recreate this one, and to this extent? There's also everything from found footage 3, including the caveman cutout, still life, and gas stove, which are songs generated by the complex, which I find very interesting. When Ravi's changing the signal frequencies on the radio tower, you can hear gas stoves speed up in the background, which is very peculiar.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello. Does anybody copy?
The whole radio tower is from found footage 3, is just very interesting, and I'm not sure if a human made it or if it was made by the complex. Like, the sharp and flat keys on this keyboard are just placed haphazardly with no rhyme or reason. So, the mysterious phenomena that's known as the green light has been spotted numerous times in the series. I believe that the green light is the force that actively expands the complex. So, whenever someone finds a place that hasn't been fully generated yet, the green lights begin green lighting all over the place, and begins a new room, shifting all the walls around to create more rooms. I think the main evidence for this theory is Mark's encounter with the green light in Pitfalls. There's very clearly some sort of green light on the floor with white above it, so that means that the thing Mark saw on the other side were the walls shifting in front of his very eyes, because he talks about both something incredible and this flowing stretched out wallpaper from Static Dead End. When we do see what's on the other side of the door, it's just a bunch of furniture clipping through the walls. For whatever reason, I think this room's generation was glitched, like a bunch of things clipping through the walls, kind of like static on a television. In the Dead End of 14th Division. Static Dead End. Roll credit! The way the complex is portrayed in Found Footage 3 is very different to the other times we've seen it, which gave me heavy whiplash when we went back to Async in the one that's released straight afterwards. I think it's safe to say that considering how furnished all these rooms are, and with the more ambitious goals the complex set for itself, like making music, these rooms are likely generated very far out from the threshold, and therefore very recently at the time of the video's recording. It's worth noting that Kane did say Found Footage 3 was a bit of an appetizer to get people prepared for the movie, so that could technically be in the answer, but that's just the meta perspective. Okay, so like, the OST for the series is actually peak. Like, it's straight fire. Like, jokes aside, the Backrooms OST and Out of Sync are some of my favorite albums ever, also some of the only albums I listen to. They are so perfectly liminal and still make you feel like you're listening to actual music. Like, have you listened to Volume 3 of Backrooms OST? It is so peak. Like, have you listened to Threshold? It's actually peak. Although it was theorized earlier, with the release of Special Access Light Spectrum, it has been confirmed that another one of Kane's albums, which name is D Pattern, is also canon to his Backrooms series, which could also mean a little bit. I kind of glossed over I Remember in part 2 of the series, so I'll say it here. This video is very likely the clue to figuring out what's actually going on in this series, but no one really quite understands it quite yet. People understand the basic stuff, like how a sea is a metaphor for the complex, but anything beyond that isn't really known. There have been many ties to the sun and to the sea in the series, but it's not quite understood what it means. For example, whatever happened in Overflow happened because the 1972 solar flares occurred right as Ivan was turning the machine on. The cover for Volume 3 of the Backrooms OST features Ivan Beck, but his face is covered up with an image of the 1972 solar flares. The way I see it, literally, is that we have the sea, this simple plane of water with all this life thriving on it. This obviously represents standard, but then the sun, Async, and Ivan reflects its light on the sea, shouting out any resemblance of life under there with a warped reflection of the sky, at least to a bystander. To someone in the sea, the whole world kind of gets torn apart. What this metaphor actually means, I don't really know. And why Kane chose the sea and the sun to represent this, I don't know. But for whatever reason, it appears that if you want to understand the series, we need to understand I Remember. Kane has said that the whole story of the Backrooms will take about 15 years to tell, and he also said that he plans on every story event that will occur. With that in mind, it's safe to say that there is still so much to the story of the complex that no one, aside from Kane, knows about. So all this raises one question. How will the series end? Kane has stated numerous times that we already have all the clues we need to understand how it will end. So how does it all fit together? Honestly, I'm not too sure. There are so many layers to this series, and I don't really understand how it works. There are so many clues as to what the complex truly is, yet no one, aside from one person technically, knows how it all works. In my opinion, The Backrooms is a story of ambition. What happens when one man tries too hard to achieve his dreams, causing so many things in the reality to fracture and fall apart?
and the complex is at the center of all it. If it wasn't already obvious, I absolutely love this series. I love how actual science is using it, and seeing it, how it unfolds all the story plots, is absolutely incredible. I apologize for making this video not be the timeline, but I think it was necessary, as it would be very hard to both explain this series and the timeline at the same time. Hopefully, I'm not promising, but hopefully the next video will be the timeline. So, like, has anyone seen Julian? Like, he's not where he's meant to be. I don't know where he went.